Okay, welcome. I'm Professor Khalid Khan from University of Granada. Today we will talk about authorship and problems related to authorship, especially focusing on guest and gift authorship. With me, I have Dr. Sajil, who is from Pakistan. Sajil, can you please introduce yourself?
Thank you so much, Dr. Khalid, for inviting me into this wonderful collaboration regarding authorship misconduct. My name is Dr. Sajil Said. I am chairman of Chamber of Innovation and Research Development. This organization is one of the biggest research organization here in Pakistan. And till date, we have mentored more than 5,000 medical students regarding the nuances of research.
Okay, thank you. I know you have invited me to speak at your events as well in the past.
Yeah,
And I appreciate that with you,
thank you
I
so much.
have an opportunity to spread the message about responsible research as we go forward.
Obviously.
So, if we look at a published article, it has a title, and right underneath the title, there are names of authors listed. And if these are individually named authors, we call it byline authorship. There is another type of authorship called group authorship, and we'll talk about that another day. Here, we are interested to look at how the list of authorship is created. I've covered this also in a chapter in my book on clinical trial integrity. And the key issue for today's video is the issue of power. Where research takes place, often multiple people contribute to the project. Perhaps there are some people powerful in that group, and others, possibly the junior doctors, are less powerful relative to their professor. So, how should this power imbalance affect authorship is a topic that we would like to cover today. But we want to cover it from the perspective and experience of Dr. Sajil. So, Sajil, would you like uh, to give your own experience in this regard?
Yes, Dr. Khalid. Well, I'm too embarrassed to say this right now that just before this meeting, I received a message from one of my professors in which, in his department, I collected a data for a research. Okay. So after collecting the data, and there's a time span of around 5 months, now I received a message that I should be the author of this project. And not only this, he said that he should be in top three positions. So yes, I am receiving this type of messages quite a lot these days, and I'm too embarrassed to say this right now.
Well, Sajil, I think what you say is common worldwide, not just in your own environment. And the question is whether this is research misconduct and what could be the consequences. Um, so I think you collected some data recently to show
Yeah,
us concerning retractions. Let's have a look at that now.
obviously. So, for the audience, I would like to switch directly to the punishment thing. Like, if you have any sort of issues regarding authorship, if you are doing any unethical work in your research, what punishment do you have in the research? So, this is a common terminology named as retraction. Retraction means the removal of your paper either due to plagiarism, due to AI content, due to any sort of unethical thing. The most common and the most you can say the embarrassing thing which I want to say right now is that the top three countries, if you can see, these top three countries where the most number of retractions occurred are China, India, and USA. These three countries have a- in these three countries there are a lot of research grant which has been given to the researchers, and you can see in all these three countries we have seen a lot of retractions, and obviously this retraction could be due to anything else.
unethical authorship practices can be a
Yeah.
factor or a reason for retraction.
Yes.
So, Sajil, would you like to give a published example so
Yeah.
that our audience can see that this isn't just a theoretical discussion?
Yes, Dr. Khalid. So right now we have a picture of an article in which the article was published in October 2011. So right now I want to pinpoint this word October 2011. That article was published. So if you can see in the next thing, that article was retracted. And when it was retracted, September 2024. So it took 13 years. It took 13 years for the article to be retracted. So if you are thinking that you may like you it doesn't happen, these sort of retraction does not exist, I would like to enforce this right now. Then even if you think you can write anything else in the research, or you are just slid away from the punishment, no, 13 years after this retraction occur, which means that even after so long, this punishment will occur eventually if you did any sort of unethical work in your research. So right now I want to pinpoint another thing, that a statement came from an author of this article. What was the statement? The statement was that I didn't contribute anything else in this research, and I was invited as a guest or a gift author in this research. So my question is, okay, you have been invited as a gift and or a guest author in this research. Didn't you read that article? The thing is, the author has stated in his research that she didn't read this article wholly, and she just said that just add my name in here. And she said, and she is saying right now that I'm not taking any blame of this article because I haven't read that. So yes, this thing is really really common.
Okay, so the interesting thing I presume you want to highlight is that this is not just an issue in your own
Yeah.
environment in Pakistan, but also in a prestigious
Yeah.
university in the Netherlands. We observe
Exactly.
this through this published example. Let's now move towards concluding what the take home messages are concerning this topic. I think it's clear that guest authorship is research misconduct. Not
Hmm.
only we say this, but it's well published, emphasized here in the British Medical Journal's EBM
Hmm.
analysis. What can we do to prevent this type of misconduct, Sajil?
Yes. In order to prevent this type of misconduct, we need to understand what are these misconducts really are. Okay, so right now I'm going to define two things, guest and gift authorship. Hope you don't mind, these two things actually co-occur. In these two terminologies, these kind of slide into one another, and actually there are two important points which came under these two things, which are: number one, if an author said that I want to like add a big name in my research so that the the publication chances may increase by adding that big name, and that big name may be that person who has an H index of maybe more than 50, more than 60, or maybe a professor in that industry. So this is the one point which I want to highlight here. And the second point is the abuse in the power. Now what is this thing? This thing is kindly just add my name. And I'd like to add, I have added this word kindly. This word is not in the dictionary of my Pakistani professors. They don't said kindly. They said, do add my name because this is my authorship guidelines. And if you don't write my name in the article, obviously I'm going to add a conflict of interest in your article. So this is really, really common in my Pakistani setting. So
Okay.
yes, this thing
Okay,
sucks actually.
let's try to understand this problem from the perspective of power in the
Yeah.
workplace. So, in, let's say, a department, there is a professor and student, and the issue concerning authorship should be resolved according to the rules. The rules may
Yeah.
come from a system called the credit system, or from the criteria set by the International Committee of Medical Journal Editors. And we will talk about these in more detail another day. But let's say if the professor plays by the rule and only seeks authorship where the contribution meets the authorship criteria, then obviously the relationship between the professor and the student is a normal relationship. But if they intimidate, threaten, or create an environment of fear for their juniors, and through this process seek authorship, then this is obviously incorrect. This is an abuse of the authority they have, and they exercise their authority outside the rules that exist. Now, in the case of gift authorship, if a student is seeking from a senior person co-authorship when they have not have not made sufficient contribution, then the responsibility to reject that invitation lies with the person in power. That responsibility lies with the professor. So the vulnerable student does not have the responsibility to correct the abusive situation in which they find themselves. That responsibility lies at the senior level.
Exactly.
So, through this, I hope we have explained that following the rules and avoiding the abuse of power is a key important feature for addressing the problem of guest and gift authorship. Sajil, would you like to say some final words concerning this?
Yeah, yes, Dr. Khalid. I would like to share a message for my senior colleagues who are like top of the hierarchy in terms of their professory and all that. And I would like to share a message for people like me who are actually right now youngsters who are actually working. So for the people who are actually on the top of hierarchy, let's create a wonderful environment for your PGs, for your mentees, for your juniors, for the person who is collecting the data from your department. Because if you create a positive environment, obviously they will acknowledge you. They will obviously tell behind your back that you are a good person, and obviously you will avoid all sort of unethical work. Okay, if you do such kind of if you try to emphasize these people, if you try to if you try to abuse the power relationship, it will eventually occur in terms of retraction. What happens if you add your name just by powerful abuse? Obviously what can happen is that what I have showed earlier. Okay, the second message which I want to give to my people who are right now youngsters, obviously, one day and another, you will be the ones who will be at that stage, which is the powerful stage. So, when you guys are at that stage of your life, do try to avoid all these unethical things from the research misconduct.
Okay, Sajil, thank you very much. With this, we bring our video to end, and we will no doubt in the near future
Thank you,
make
Dr. Khan.
further videos concerning authorship criteria and how to help implement them better in practice. Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Khan.